Revealed, the incredible moment a black maid stunned a millionaire sheikh with heartwarming words. Clara woke before dawn, the world outside still cloaked in darkness. The early morning chill brushed against her skin as she wrapped her shawl tighter around her shoulders. Today would be another exhaustive day of sweeping, dusting, and making polished homes gleam for families oblivious to the struggles beneath her smile. Yet, each morning held the promise of something more, a moment of hope in her busy life filled with responsibilities, her 3 bright-eyed children and her ailing mother weighing on her heart. That in stark contrast, Khalid stepped off his sleek private jet, his tailored suit practically whispering the language of wealth. He scanned the affluent Atlanta neighborhood with indifference, more consumed by dollar signs than the lives shaping the community he was about to infiltrate. He strode into the politician's grand home, his gaze falling upon Clara, who moved seamlessly among the polished floors and elegant furnishings. For an instant, their eyes met. Something in Clara's look, sheer determination mixed with life's burdens, startled him. But he quickly brushed it aside. She was just a maid, after all. The tension thickened as Clara prepared for an urgent community meeting about the potential closure of the very community center she cherished. It was where kids played, where friendships grew, where dreams ignited amid the struggles of life. The stakes were high, and fate was about to intertwine her path with Khalid's in a way neither could predict. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the community meeting commenced, Clara took a deep breath, heart pounding in rhythm with the drumming of her thoughts. The room buzzed with voices, but Clara stood resolute, her spirit unwavering. She rose, gripping the podium, challenging Khalid to understand that the center was not just wood and brick. It's a lifeline, she exclaimed, eyes shining with fierce conviction. It means hope for families like mine. Gasps rippled through the audience. Clara's words hung in the air like an electric shock. She felt her chest tighten, but continued, we work hard, we sacrifice, and this place helps us dream beyond our circumstances. The crowd rallied behind her, energy surging in passionate agreement. Khalid blinked, wrestling with the unfamiliar feeling stirring inside him. As Clara's voice soared, she noticed Khalid's expression shift, realization dawning, a flicker of something deepened. Did he see her? Really see her? She implored. Understanding comes from listening, not judging. We are more than our backgrounds. The room pulsed with raw energy. It was a clash between privilege and resilience. Khalid felt the weight of her words, his perspective crackling with uncertainty. Just as he prepared to respond, her eyes shone with an unyielding light, full of hope and challenge. How would he reconcile his fortune with her unwavering resolve? As Clara stepped back, the room felt electric, filled with a thirst for answers and understanding, leaving them all desperate for the next moment of truth. Clara's heart raced as whispers and murmurs filled the room. She had cast a spell with her words, but now she felt the weight of every gaze upon her. It was intoxicating yet terrifying. Khalid shifted in his seat, his expression unreadable. Was he moved, or merely annoyed? Mr. Sheikh, Clara's voice rang out again, this time softer but no less firm, I know you hold tremendous influence. What if you used it to uplift rather than diminish? The words flowed from her like a river breaking through a dam. A few heads nodded, moments of understanding reflecting back at her from the crowd. Khalid straightened, eyebrows furrowing. He was part of this world of power, and here was a woman challenging him, daring him to feel something beyond his luxury. Could he bridge the gap between their worlds? With every breath Clara took, she felt his stare, an unwavering flame incinerating the walls of his privilege. Education is our weapon, a voice shouted from the back, emboldened by Clara's courage. We need to secure our future, not just for us but for generations. The crowd erupted in applause, and Clara couldn't help but smile. But then, Khalid rose slowly, an imposing figure against the backdrop of the decorated hall. This community center, you believe it to be so vital, why? His voice was steady, but Clara could sense the struggle behind it. Because it's more than a center, Mr. Sheikh. It's a home. It's where dreams are nurtured, youth is inspired, and lives are transformed. Clara couldn't hold back the emotion as it surged within her, threatening to spill over. Khalid's brow furrowed. But there are costs. The community center requires funding. Many people in the city are ready to pull their support. Why not focus on other investments? The audience fell into a heavy silence. Expectation crackled through the air like static electricity. Clara took a step forward, allowing her vulnerability to surface. You speak of money like it's the only value, she replied, her voice softening. But you can't put a price on potential, can you? Those children being pushed aside for wealth, they deserve a chance to shine, not just survive. Khalid hesitated, his grip tightening on the podium. With every moment that passed, Clara's courage illuminated the truth he had been hiding from. She had embodied the very change he had spent most of his life ignoring. A murmur of agreement rippled through the crowd again, but there was more brewing beneath the surface. It was not just about the center anymore, it was about connection, understanding, and the fragile nature of power. Clara's heart raced as she sensed the possibility of creating real change. As Khalid opened his mouth to respond, something flashed in his eyes, a mix of conflict, interest, and maybe even the desire to help. But just then, the room shook with an unforgiving heat. An explosion of laughter and shouting echoed from the street outside, catching their attention. All eyes turned to the window, where a group of children played, their joy echoing like sweet chimes amidst the noise of the world outside. What if? Clara's voice trailed off, a new resolve settling within her. What if we could make that laughter echo within the walls of our center for years to come? Khalid glanced back at Clara, curiosity igniting in his chest. What could they achieve together? United against a common struggle was a prospect he had never envisioned, and as Clara stood, heart alight with hope, a silent question formed between them. Would he step beyond his gilded cage, and truly listen? The air hummed with unspoken possibilities, pushing both Clara and Khalid toward a destiny that would change everything. Clara remained frozen for a heartbeat, the cheers of the children outside melting into a distant hum. The hall was electric, charged with potential and tension as Khalid's gaze bore into her. She could see it now, the struggle etched in his brow. He was a man caught in a web of loyalty, tradition, and expectations. But Clara's words lay like an open door before him. Would he choose to walk through it? Why should I take this risk? Khalid asked. His voice, rich like the earth, held a mix of skepticism and intrigue. In a world filled with opportunists, what makes you so different? Clara inhaled sharply, feeling the weight of the question. Because I believe in this community, she answered, her voice steady. These aren't just numbers or statistics. Their lives filled with hopes and dreams. It's about elevating those dreams together. A chuckle from the back snapped her attention. You're dreaming, lady. What good are dreams without dollars? Every great dream starts as an idea, Clara shot back, determination fueling her words. That's where change begins. Look around you, isn't this place worth fighting for? Isn't our future worth that fight? The audience shifted restlessly, unsure how to react. Clara could feel the walls thickening around them, but she pressed on, stepping closer to the podium. Mirroring the fight in her heart, she beseeched Khalid with her eyes. She needed him to understand. What good is a life built on wealth if it's not shared? She continued. We can create a ripple effect that goes beyond today, beyond this room. Imagine investing not only in structures, but in humanity itself. Khalid's expression softened ever so slightly, but she could see the shadows of his doubt lurking. He was a fortress, and her words were arrows trying to find a chink in his armor. Look at those children, Clara pointed out the window again, her heart swelling as she watched them tumble and sway in the sunlight. They don't need a mansion or a yacht. They need someone to believe they matter. Someone with your influence. Together, we could give them hope. Silence hung heavy in the air, yet tension crackled with each passing moment, and Khalid finally spoke, his tone contemplative. And what if your dreams fall flat? What if we lose everything? Then we pick ourselves up and try again, Clara replied, her voice steady. But living in fear of failure will never build a better future. It will only breed more of the same. Amid the murmurs, Clara could feel the crowd shifting. It felt as if they were leaning closer, nudging Khalid toward the abyss of possibility. Khalid's gaze flickered momentarily to the window, where the laughter continued to weave through the air like a promise. Clara sensed the deep-rooted fear tugging at him, fear of giving, of being vulnerable. He was a man who had always measured his worth through the prism of wealth. But perhaps today could be different. Perhaps together they could create something that transcended money and status. Mr. Sheikh, you have a chance here. With your backing, we could turn the dream into reality, she urged, feeling the weight of her words as they hung between them. Khalid's face was unreadable, a storm of thoughts swirling behind his cool facade. Clara felt her heart thumping loudly, echoing the questions that loomed over them both. What if he accepted? What if he turned away? As his lips parted, ready to reply, a commotion erupted from the entrance of the hall. A loud crash, followed by gasps, jolted everyone out of their tense bubble. Clara's stomach twisted. What danger had just barged into their moment? What now? She whispered, dread creeping in. The heavy door swung open, and a new figure stepped in, looking around wildly. Clara narrowed her eyes. Who wouldn't he let this moment pass without making a statement? A collective intake of breath surged throughout the room. She couldn't shake the feeling that whatever was about to happen would change everything they had just begun to build. The figure that burst into the hall was a young girl, no older than 10, her wild curls bouncing with each frantic step. Her clothes were slightly tattered but colorful, a kaleidoscope of bright patterns. Clara recognized her immediately. Emma, one of the children from the nearby community center where she volunteered. Miss Clara. Emma shouted, her voice like a shot fired through the silence. You have to help. They're gonna take our playground. Gasps echoed through the hall. Clara felt her heart drop. The playground was a sanctuary for those kids, a place of laughter and safety. Khalid's brow furrowed deeper as he absorbed the scene unfolding in front of him. Why? Clara asked gently, kneeling to Emma's height, trying to keep her voice steady despite the rising anxiety in her chest. Emma's hazel eyes were as wide as saucers. The construction workers came this morning and said they're building something for the rich people instead. They're gonna make it a parking lot. But it's where we play, it's all we have. Tears brimmed in her eyes. Clara felt rage and helplessness swirl inside her. She could picture the children, their laughter ringing through the air, replaced by the rumble of heavy machinery and the sight of cement. Khalid shifted, uncertainty flashing across his face. Surely, they can't do that without proper consent, he said, his voice softer now, as if the child's plight was knotted in his chest. They can if they own the land. Emma cried, her small fists clenched. They don't care about us. They just want money. Miss Clara, please. Can you stop them? Clara looked to Khalid, and she could see the wheels turning in his mind. This was his world, where power and influence were currency, but this was also a moment where it was personal. What if we could build something else? Khalid spoke up, his voice louder now, his focus shifting. If your community needs a playground, we'll make it happen. Together. Emma's eyes sparkled with hope. Really? You mean it? Yes. But we need more than just wishes, we need a plan. Khalid's voice was steady, taking command of the room again. Clara could see the change in him. He was stepping out of his fortress, pulled by the weight of the child's innocence and desperation. The murmurs in the crowd grew louder, shifting from skepticism to eager curiosity. They could sense it, a turning point was unfurling right before them. The energy in the room transformed, buoyed by the possibility of tangible change, Clara seized the moment, lofting the discussion higher. We can rally the community. We can show them what we can achieve when we work together. She felt her heart race, fueled by the hope blooming brightly in the room. Khalid stood up straighter, an unexpected resolve glimmering in his eyes. Then let us do it. We'll create a new space, an entire playground that works for the community, a place where the children don't just play but dream. A wave of applause rippled through the crowd, lifting Clara's spirits even higher. Khalid was taking the leap she had hoped for. Amid the clapping, she caught Emma's grateful gaze, and it filled her with warmth. But just as hope soared, Clara's instincts tingled. Was this enough? The community faced greater challenges than a playground. And what if Khalid's commitment wavered once his initial excitement faded? As Khalid's voice thundered excitement as he outlined plans, Clara's mind raced with possibilities and fears alike. She hadn't just opened a door, she had unlocked a whole new world filled with uncertainty. Would Khalid be able to sustain his promise? Or would the weight of his old world pull him back? Clara glanced back at Emma, now beaming with hope, and felt a surge of determination. They were on the brink of something extraordinary, but the path ahead was anything but clear. And just like that, an echo of laughter drifted in from outside, teasing at the corners of her mind, reminding her that the stakes were far greater than anyone yet realized. Let us just hope this isn't a fleeting moment, she whispered to herself, her heart pounding. What lay ahead? Would demand everything they had: their unity, their passion, and their courage. Would they rise to the occasion? Or would the shadows of doubt loom over the brightest of dreams? Clara stood in the midst of the room, excitement buzzing like electricity around her. People were eager, eyes sparkling with ideas and determination. But in the corners of her mind, doubt nibbled at her confidence. Would Khalid truly follow through? And how could they rally everyone into action? What's the first step? A voice rang out, breaking her reverie. It belonged to Mrs. Johnson, an elderly woman who lived in the neighborhood for decades. Her weathered hands clutched a knitting needle, a symbol of the community thread she often wove together. Khalid looked at Clara, as if silently asking for guidance. We need to gather a meeting, she suggested, her voice steadying with each word. We can invite everyone from the community center and surrounding neighborhoods. Let us share Emma's story and gather support. Yes. We must unite. Khalid said, an energy surging in him. If the community cares about this place, they will show up. The clapping and cheers rose again, blending with hopeful shouts from little Emma. Clara watched her as she bounced on the balls of her feet, her face alight with belief. It reminded her of her own childhood dreams, playing in fields with her friends, where laughter reigned supreme. That night, Clara barely slept. Her mind raced with images of the playground, the sound of laughter, and the fierce spark of change. Each time she closed her eyes, she envisioned the faces of the children, each one a testament to the importance of what they were fighting for. The following day, they hit the ground running. Clara and Khalid plastered the community with colorful flyers, each sheet detailing their mission to save the playground. As they spread the word, Clara felt joy at the responses: neighbors agreeing to join, donations coming in, and visits to local businesses for support. Weeks passed in a blur of meetings and planning sessions. Clara marveled at the transformation happening around her. Khalid was increasingly present, juggling business responsibilities with community work. It gave her hope, yet the shadows of doubt lingered, whispering fears that his resolve might fade with his ambition. On a sunny Saturday, the community meeting finally arrived. The hall was packed, people of all ages crammed together in the small space, their voices mingling in a harmonious clamor. Clara watched as Khalid stood at the front, radiating confidence. He spoke passionately about the importance of children having a place to play, a space to grow. Emma sat among the audience, her face beaming with trust, yet, as he spoke, an unsettling thought gripped Clara. What if someone challenged their plans? What if the developers had connections that could overpower their voices? Suddenly, a voice cut through her anxious thoughts. Excuse me. It was Mr. Harris, a well-known businessman in the area, known for his harsh ways and sharp tongue. Clara's heart dropped. "You all are wasting your time. Money is the language that speaks in this world." Gasps echoed through the crowd, and Clara felt a chill run down her spine. Khalid's eyes narrowed, but before he could respond, Clara found herself standing up. "Mr. Harris," she called, her voice resolute despite the tremor in her hands. "We may not have money, but we have something you can't buy. We have hope, we have love for our community, and we have determination." The room erupted into applause, people rallying behind her words. Khalid shot Clara a proud glance, and she felt the collective strength of the community swell. But Mr. Harris's response was sharper than the applause. "Hope doesn't build playgrounds. Money does. Mark my words, you'll regret this." His words hung in the air like a thunderstorm waiting to break. Clara swallowed hard. Was this just the beginning of their fight? The energy in the room shifted, uncertainty creeping in along with tension. Clara's heart raced, beating a drum of resolve inside her. They had a mountain to climb, and not everyone would support their vision. With arms crossed and a steely gaze directed at the confrontation, Clara knew she had to fight with everything. She had. She took a deep breath, finding strength amid her fears. Could they truly bring their vision to life? Or would the storm only grow fiercer with time, threatening to drown their dreams? The silence after Mr. Harris's speech felt like a weight pressing down on Clara. She could see the crowd's nerves start to surface, faint whispers and side glances exchanged among them. Doubt crept in, weaving through the fabric of the hope they had forged. Clara quickly scanned the room for Khalid. His face was calm but shadowed with concern. "Let us not back down," he called out, stepping forward again. "Our children's laughter is worth fighting for. Every one of you knows how important this playground is, the memories it will create. We can't let fear take the stage." His voice echoed, and gradually, the room began to buzz once more. Clara felt a spark of courage reignite in her. She glanced at Emma, who was clasping her small hands together in that hopeful way that only a child could. Her innocence was a light, guiding Clara back to her purpose. Clara stepped closer to the front, her heart pounding in her chest. "Mr. Harris," she said, trying to soften her voice. "I understand that money speaks. But what about the silence of a child without a playground? The laughter that's lost? Isn't the joy of community worth more than a profit?" A murmur ran through the crowd, heads nodding, eyes brightening. "Was it working?" Mr. Harris scoffed, but the uncertainty slipped into his voice. "You think you can take on developers with nothing but words? Let us see you put your hope to the test." Khalid stepped beside Clara, a determined fire burning in his eyes. "We are more than words. We're a community rooted together, standing united. We will show you that our power lies not in cash but in connection. Watch and see." With those words, Clara felt the shift in the room. The fervor of the moment sparked something in everyone. A few voices called out, "We're with you." Others joined in, rallying support. The atmosphere thickened with solidarity, and hope cascaded like a wave across the faces around them. But in the edges of her happiness, Clara couldn't ignore the lingering doubts. As she spoke to the crowd, she battled the feeling that this could all come crashing down if Mr. Harris decided to escalate the challenge. Khalid seemed to read her mind, and despite the noise of the crowd, he leaned in closer, whispering, "We have to keep moving forward. We can't let him intimidate us." "Yes," Clara nodded, her voice quiet yet firm. "But do we have a plan beyond this meeting?" Khalid hesitated. It was clear they had ignited a fire, but would that be enough to sustain them through the trials ahead? "Let us gather a committee. Mobilize our supporters. We'll plan a demonstration," he suggested, a twist of excitement sharpening his features. Clara smiled, feeling the thrill of suggestion bubble inside her. Yes, a demonstration. A chance to further unearth the community's power. We could set a date and make it a celebration. Something the neighborhood can rally behind. The meeting erupted into ideas as people jumped up, throwing out suggestions and sparking excitement. Clara felt herself lifted by the energy of those around her. But then her heart sank again as she recalled the force of Mr. Harris, not just a voice, but a powerful figure. Clara pushed that thought aside, focusing instead on the camaraderie forming. The cheering voices, the uplifted spirits, everything began to blend into a beautiful canvas of determination. As the meeting closed and people started to disperse, Clara caught sight of Mr. Harris standing against the wall, arms crossed, a smirk playing on his lips. What was he planning? Their unity might faze him, but it could just as easily provoke retaliation. Clara, Khalid said, sensing her lingering anxiety. We will face whatever comes next together. But the question lingered, was their unity strong enough to withstand the storm brewing on the horizon? Clara's resolve hardened. We'll find out soon enough. As they wrapped up the gathering, fighting energy flowed through Clara. The demonstration was the next step, but deep down, she felt the weight of something bigger lurking just beyond the horizon, an unseen battle that would test the limits of their strength. Would the community stand firm against whatever storm Mr. Harris would conjure? Or would their dreams for the playground slip away like sand through their fingers? Clara woke the next morning with a fire in her belly, a motivation that buzzed through her like electricity. She sipped her coffee, still warm, as she stared out the window at the sunshine streaming down on the neighborhood. Today was the day they would lay the groundwork for their demonstration, and she could feel the rhythm of impending change in her bones. She remembered Khalid's excitement the night before. They had already begun to gather a crew of volunteers. The vision for a lively celebration, where everyone could join in together, felt more tangible with each passing moment. Clara grabbed her notebook, her hands shaking slightly with anticipation. Every word she jotted down became a building block for the community's dream. Fingers stained with ink, she wrote down potential themes for their rally. Defend our playground stood as a strong contender. She considered emphasizing inclusivity, and the laughter of children united under a banner of hope. That thought sent her heart racing. It wasn't mere talk. This was real. Their stake in the community was as solid as the ground below her. When she finally left the house, the excitement around her felt infectious. Neighbors started to gather, sharing smiles and nods, their eyes alight with purpose. Clara approached Lucy, a young mother with a fierce protective streak for her kids. Lucy. Are you on board for the plans today? Absolutely. Lucy grinned, enthusiasm bubbling. I can even make flyers. Let us get the word out. As they exchanged ideas, more voices joined in, filling the air with determination. Clara felt lighter. The more they talked, the more details began to unfold. They discussed creating colorful signs, organizing crafts for the kids, and perhaps even hosting a small picnic to bring everyone together. The thought of laughter and joy resonating through the streets was intoxicating, a heartwarming vision against the backdrop of their shared struggle. As Clara took charge of organizing supplies, she felt a tap on her shoulder. She turned to see Khalid, his expression serious. We need to address Mr. Harris, he said, lowering his voice, glancing around. What do you mean? Clara asked, uncertainty creeping in. Word is, he might be planning something, maybe a counter-event to quash our spirits, or worse. We need to anticipate his moves. The idea sent a chill down her spine. The intensity of the fight grew real. What are you suggesting we do? Clara replied, her brow furrowing. Let us prepare a statement. We can't let him dictate the narrative. If he tries to undermine us, we'll show him we won. Be silenced. Clara hesitated, her heart racing. The stakes felt higher than ever. Do you think we're ready for that kind of confrontation? Khalid held her gaze, the fire in his eyes sparking a sense of courage in her. We don't have a choice. We want them to see our community. United, we have power. We've got each other's backs. As the day unfolded, the plan solidified into something robust. Clara felt fortified by that connection. They would create a space for joy, but they needed to prepare for any retaliation, especially from someone as powerful as Mr. Harris. The community was their shield. The evening came, and Clara stood among this vibrant group, their energy palpable. The thought of standing against an impending storm terrified her yet exhilarated her in equal measure. Together, Clara shouted, raising her voice. "We can show him what we're made of." Cheers erupted around her, faces lighting with hope, but what if Mr. Harris unleashed his full power? Would this spirited community withstand his potential onslaught? Clara's heart raced. She had to believe their dream was worth fighting for, that they could turn this turning point into a launch pad for victory. The question lingered in the air like a tightening knot: were they prepared to confront the sheer force of a challenge that loomed so closely, and would their united front be enough to hold against Mr. Harris's retaliation? The answer felt just out of reach. The next morning felt different, as if the air was charged with an electric buzz. Clara's heart raced with anticipation as she made her way to the park, now a battleground for their campaign. The sun hung low, bathing the playground in a warm glow, but she knew that shadows loomed. As she approached, her neighbors were already on site, armed with paint, brushes, and a determination that lit the morning. Khalid waved her over, his face bright with enthusiasm despite the tension they had discussed the night before. "Look at this," he said, pointing to a large banner they were crafting. It read, "Together we stand," in bold, colorful letters. Clara beamed. The spirit of community was palpable, wrapping around her like a warm hug. "This looks amazing," she exclaimed, feeling pride swell in her chest, but, as the day progressed, the winds shifted. In the distance, Clara spotted a figure she dreaded, Mr. Harris, walking his expensive-looking dog with an air of superiority. She swallowed hard, losing a bit of that initial excitement. Could they really stand against him now? "Don't let him get in your head," Khalid said, sensing her hesitation. "Remember why we're here. Focus on the positive." Still, as they painted and crafted, whispers drifted through the group about Harris's plans. People spoke of his growing influence and resources, the seemingly insurmountable hurdles ahead. Clara's heart sank with every mention, fear was creeping in like a sinister fog. "Hey, Clara!" Lucy called, breaking her train of thought. "We need your help with these signs." Clara shook off the unease, joining in. The conversation sparked laughter and camaraderie, but the shadows of uncertainty clung closely. Then a sudden hush fell over the crowd. Mr. Harris stood at the edge of the park, arms crossed, his expression unreadable. "I see you're all preparing to make a scene," he called out, voice smooth but laced with condescension. "What exactly do you think you're accomplishing here?" Clara felt the collective tension in the air, a wave of doubt threatening to break the resolve around her. Khalid stepped forward, his posture strong. "We'll make our voices heard, Mr. Harris. Our playground matters to us, and we want to let you take it away." Harris chuckled softly, dismissive. "Feel free to waste your time. But just so you know, I have plans for this area. You'll want to be careful about how loud you get." The threat hung heavy and cold, stealing some of the air from Clara's lungs. The crowd buzzed with confusion and fear. Clara could see the flicker of doubt in their eyes, but she steeled her own resolve. "Everyone, listen," she called, heart pounding. "This is what he wants to vision. If we give in to fear, we lose everything we've fought for. Remember why we're here. This is about more than just a playground. It's about our community and what we believe in." Clara's voice trembled but grew stronger as she sensed the warmth of her neighbors rallying beside her. Khalid stood beside her. "We all have a stake in this fight. We're not just voices, we are a community." The tension shifted, turning fear into quiet defiance. Clara's heart swelled with determination, seeing her friends come together to stand firm against the bitter cold of fear. Would they really be able to shout louder than Harris's threats? She took a deep breath, heart racing at the thought of what was to come, but just as the group began to rally, a loud crash echoed from the nearby construction site. Everyone turned, startled. Dust clouded the air, and amidst the chaos, a new sense of urgency brewed. Clara's pulse quickened as she clutched her banner tightly. What was happening? And how would this twist escalate their fight for the playground? As uncertainty grew, one thing was clear: they were not done yet. The moment of confrontation had arrived, and now they had to face not only Mr. Harris but whatever other surprises lay ahead. Would they find the strength to stand against it all? The air thickened with tension as Clara squinted through the swirling dust, trying to discern what had caused the commotion. The loud crash echoed again, sharper this time, metal clanging on concrete. Eyes widened, Clara's heart raced even faster. What was happening at the construction site? "Stay together," she called out to her neighbors. Khalid caught her eye, a frown etched on his face, but the flicker of determination remained. This was a moment to be united, not scattered. As the dust settled, they could see a group of men frantically gathering debris. It appeared that a large section of scaffolding had collapsed. Clara felt a chill run through her. Was anyone hurt? Without thinking, she hurried toward the chaos. Khalid followed closely behind, glancing back at their friends. One community, one heartbeat. They had to figure it out together. Once they reached the edge of the scene, the full scope of the mess hit her. A couple of workers were crouched beside a fallen beam, shouting to each other, their movements urgent. Clara turned to Khalid, panic evident in her voice. "Do you think we should help?" Before he could answer, a shout rang out, "We're okay. Just need to clear this up." A young worker emerged from behind a pile of rubble, brushing dirt off his hard hat, relief washing over his features. As Clara and Khalid stepped back, an unsettling thought gnawed within her: was this just the beginning? Had Mr. Harris pushed this construction too fast? Her mind began racing with questions. Suddenly, from the corner of her eye, Clara spotted Mr. Harris himself, striding toward the site, his expression inscrutable. This was his territory, and she could only guess how he would react to the chaos unfolding. The sun glinted off his sunglasses as he surveyed the scene, and Clara's stomach twisted. Would he see the need for compassion? Or would this only fuel his desire to shove through and build, regardless of the consequences? "Everyone!" Harris bellowed, his voice booming above the sounds of hammers and shouting men. "Get this cleaned up immediately. We don't have time for mistakes." His harsh tone shocked Clara, and she could feel the discomfort ripple through the nearby crowd. "We can't just treat this like a simple setback," Khalid shouted back. "People are right here, working hard, let us at least make sure they're safe." His voice trembled slightly but held firm. "Them are." Harris regarded Khalid with cold disdain, shrugging dismissively. "Safety is relative, son. Keep pushing, or we'll lose momentum." He turned on his heel, heading back to his sleek car parked on the edge of the lot. The crowd murmured, the unease palpable, and Clara felt a fire ignite in her chest. How can he be so callous? She muttered, frustration boiling over. This was not just a project to him, these were people's lives. "What are we going to do?" Lucy whispered from behind them, her eyes wide with concern. Clara glanced around at her friends, the anguish in their faces mirroring her own. An unexpected resolve surged through her. "We need to stand for those workers, for everyone here. We can't let Harris walk all over us or them." With a nod of agreement, Khalid stepped up beside Clara. The atmosphere shifted again, this time imprisoning the essence of courage they all needed. "If we act now, we can confront him. Show him we're here for more than just a playground," he encouraged, gathering the group closer. Clara felt excitement mingle with fear. Was this where the tide would turn? With the promise of unity, she rallied her friends and led them toward the direction of Mr. Harris's car, determined to have their voices heard. But just as they began marching forward, another loud crash echoed from behind them. Clara's heart dropped as something even more alarming unfolded. What was next? How far would they have to go to prove they were not invisible in this fight? As the unexpected thunder of a second crash resonated, Clara's heart raced. The air grew thick with chaos, dust clouds swirled like spirits disturbed. A flurry of voices rang out, confusion mingling with fear. She squeezed Khalid's hand, grounding herself. "Stay focused," Clara shouted. "We need to stand firm." Gathering her courage, she led their group toward the scene of the commotion, determination etched on her face. The sight of the workers scrambling amid debris sparked flames of empathy within her, an urge to unite their community in action. "Hurry!" Khalid urged, his palms pressing against the pulse of the urgency around them. They could be more than mere witnesses, they could be leaders in this moment. As they pushed forward, Clara spotted Mr. Harris leaning against his sleek car, arms crossed, a self-satisfied grin plastered across his face. Anger surged through Clara like wildfire. "Enough with this." Khalid stepped confidently toward Harris, his voice shooting straight through the tension. "This isn't just about money to these people. It's about lives." Clara joined him, her heart swelling with every heartbeat. "You're not just demolishing a playground, you're tearing apart something real. These people are our neighbors, our families." For a moment, Harris faltered, caught off guard by their united front. The confidence oozing from Clara and Khalid was palpable, and people began to gather behind them, feet shuffling, whispers igniting into fueled voices. "Don't you see?" Clara pressed on, her voice unwavering. "While you build for wealth, we're building dreams. We're fighting for children's laughter, memories waiting to be made." With conviction rising like the dawn, Clara noticed familiar faces from the community, slowly encircling her like steadfast shields. It seemed the strength of their shared struggles was coming to a head. "Let us take a stand," Lucy cried out, raising a sign she had painted, "Our playground matters." Others joined, the signs waving like banners of hope. Clara felt the tide shift, energy crackling with intent. Harris looked intimidated, the glimmer of surprise flickering in his eyes as he observed the swell of support behind the duo. This was no longer about just a playground, it was about identity, connection, and a fight against invisibility. "Keep pushing," Khalid's voice thundered, igniting a chant. "This is our home. We deserve joy. We deserve hope." With that chorus backing their words, Clara felt every ounce of fear dissipate, replaced by exhilarating excitement that surged through her veins. She glanced at the workers, seeing their apprehension transform into solidarity, and a spark of hope flickered alight in their eyes. Then, suddenly, like a lightning bolt interrupting a peaceful sky, a new voice echoed. Emma, little but fierce, pushed her way forward. "Mr. Harris. You don't care about us. You don't care about the laughter that we share." Gasps rippled through the crowd again, marveling at the boldness of the child. Clara's heart swelled, filled with pride watching Emma stand as a representation of all they fought for. "Emma, thank you," Clara called out, her voice filled with warmth. "Your bravery shows us that the future is in our hands." "I want to play," Emma shouted, her arms raised to the sky, an embodiment of innocence and hope. Harris's smirk cracked, annoyance bubbling beneath his cool facade. "Children's games won't change the world," he retorted, but uncertainty creased across his brow, betrayal lining his tongue. "Maybe the world needs a little more of their laughter." Khalid shot back, stepping front and center. "Those children deserve a future, they deserve to play freely." The crowd erupted into applause, the sound washing over Clara like a cleansing wave. This was the moment, the tipping point of grace, resilience, and hope. A tangible reality lay just beyond the horizon, all they needed to do was reach out and grasp it. Then, it happened. A loud crack pierced through the air as another piece of scaffolding fell, this time narrowly missing Emma. The crowd gasped collectively, fear slicing through the joyful noise. "Get back!" Clara shouted, pulling Emma into her arms. She turned to look at the crowd. "Safety first. Let us clear the area, but remember we stand together." The urgency shifted the crowd as the workers quickly moved toward the debris site. Yet even amidst the chaos, keepers of hope were born. I'll help, Emma insisted, tugging at Clara's hand, eyes glimmering with determination. No, sweetheart. Stay with us. Clara exclaimed, her heart pounding. She knew they had to protect their future, their dreams. The children standing beneath those dreams were the reason they fought. Khalid knelt beside them, his presence steady, grounding them in the turmoil. We will face whatever comes together, he promised, eyes locked with Clara and Emma, a simple, sincere vow weighted with trust. As the dust settled, Clara could see the determination in her neighbor's eyes, blending passion with purpose. They were no longer just fighting for a playground, they were fighting for a future. They learned to hold their heads high, uniting as a force. Khalid, together, we can make something beautiful prosper, Clara whispered, hope radiating between them like sunbeams. Absolutely, he replied, his gaze unwavering. This is just the beginning. That day, they worked together, fighting not just for a playground, but for a community, a family, a vision that would revolutionize everything. As voices soared, laughter echoed, and hands reached out not just for toys and games but for possibility, and as they stood there together, intertwined in determination and love, Clara felt the world shift. The playground would not merely survive, it would flourish. The dawn of transformation had come. And with it, a new chapter awaited. Now, it's your turn. You need to subscribe now to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm, comment below your reactions and feelings about this ending. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation.